Okay, so the Greek god of Mars is Aries, right? Mm. Mhm. And Aries would be Ant against would be like the god against Mars, right? And Aries is also a red star. Like Mars is also a red star. It's red giants. I mean, you say it's planets, but it's red giants in my eyes. Alright. Reason why it has the same magnetic pull and gives the same charges. So boom. And Aries. And Aries planet is designated Scorpio in the sun. Average the 15th brightest star in the night sky. It's bigger than Betelgeuse. M1 red supergiant, right? It's the mass 12, 555 light years, meaning 55 years. Mm, yeah, that's right. It is directly in the orbit around a star twice the size of the sun. Hmm, maybe Nemesis. Anyways, let's get back to it. Alright, so like say the Eternals, right? They were trying to protect mankind from the deviants. Alright, so the deviants come from the fifth and sixth period of time, which is also the fifth and sixth period. The fifth and sixth period is the Carboniferous period, right? Carboniferous period is a geological period and system of whoop-de woo, you see it right there, that spans 60 million years from the end of the Devonian period, which was 358.9 million years ago, to the beginning of the Permian period, which was 298 298.9. And boom, it's also the age of the amphibians. So you see these huge creatures, big big old parasites and stuff like that. Is because in these fossils there are cells, and the UV is at a 6 or higher. So that's giving it six dimensional energy, not third dimensional energy. Wow. So the UV is actually giving different dimensions of energy, right? Because it's 9 dimensions, two alternates. So the UV gives you the energy to go to these dimensions because the gates is in you, neuromelanated person. So when you absorb this UV at a higher UV rate, it opens those gates in you, it opens those crystals in you to go to those dimensions. So like if you was at absorbing UV at 11, you be able to go to Sirius, some shit like that. So boom, the Carboniferous period, right? The age of the amphibians. If you seen Eternals when they were like defending the people from them animals, that's what all that shit came from. The Carboniferous period, right? Everything was bigger. The amphibians were bigger because they were at a higher frequency. They were in the fifth and the sixth dimension, frequency energy, right? That is this pretty much the second level, right? Say if it was 3 levels, right? That would be the second level, right? Really, it would be the fourth level. No, it would be the fifth and the sixth level. So, like, boom. Yeah, back to the fifth and sixth dimension, it would be the fifth and the sixth level. So, boom. But when you absorb the higher frequencies, depending on where you're at on the map, you can actually tap into higher realms from that UV if you're able to absorb that UV for its energy. So the Devonian people, right? The Devonian people, right, are from this island. They're from this island, right? Devon Island is an island in Canada and is the largest uninhabited island in the world. It is located in Baffin Bay, right? This is where the highest point, Devon ice cap. You wonder why it's cold, right? On a tropical planet because they're hiding something there. They're definitely hiding something there. Look, it's a desert, but they got it cold like it's a polar. Nigga, first of all, cold is fake. So if you're making it polar, you're just covering up high energies from the desert because the desert's gonna have high energies because of the heat. The the plateau is often veiled by fog. See, the veil is covering up something that is secretive. So it's veiled by fog. Deep canyons and large craters made from meteorite impact the marked landscape. So when you know a meteorite comes, that means that's how they land. They land in fossils. The same fossils you make fuel of. That's how they land, right? Because as a cell, they can just look at it how the cells being fossils. So as a cell at a higher frequency is easier than a fossil, which is still a part of them, to lower their frequency and come into a land. So boom. Alright, so that's where the island is. And Devon Island, one of the most Mars-like places on Earth. That's Mars. It's supposed to be Mars. They can't even get outer space. So, like bruh said, they went outer space and went to Mars, right? Because the Atlantic slave trade, people are already breaking it down how it makes sense, how it don't make sense. But let me tell you in my eyes on how it is. So let's look at empire takeover from west. Boom. So this is pretty much why the war is going on, because it's the same fight, just in a whole different year. All right. So look, peep game. The Western Empire. Look, because if you even add a zero in front of the two, right, the 286, and then reverse it, it'd be year 6008, 820, right? So if it was the year 6000, that would be pretty much the year of the sixth still, the sixth century. And when it comes to those time period words, that's just measurements of energy cycles. So that would be the sixth dimension still. And then the same thing for 476. So this ties back to the sixth dimension. Because remember, we're in cycles. So how we're saying we're back in Bible times, we're back in the Western Roman Empire times also. Because it has something to do with the Black Sea, reason they call it the Black Sea. And Constantinople, right? So the Western Empire compromised the Western provinces of the Roman Empire. Roman empires like the Knight Templar, feel me, at any time during which they were administered by a separate independent imperial court. In particular, this term is used in historiography to describe the period from 286 to 476. So even if you reverse that, that would be 674 and 682. So even with adding a zero or a couple of more zeros, making it longer in reverse, you still saying the sixth period, the sixth dimension. So let's stay with me. So where there were separate courts dividing the governance of the empire in the western and eastern provinces. All right, so we're the Western Empire, and we're pretty much going against the Eastern Empire. And in between of that is Ukraine. Ukraine is pretty much part of Constantinople, and it's part of Georgia. So whatever Georgia really means, because Georgia connects from Europe to North America, and there's another Georgia on Sandwich Islands, South Georgia, and South America. So that makes a triangle within the circle, within three circles actually. The triangle within three circles. Hmm. Never said this before. So we gotta draw this out because I feel like it's gonna make sense now. Gotta draw this out. Find the pencil. We're gonna make some random dots. Makes sense. Alright, so we on the last video explained the 369, but this also falls into the 369. So this is my first time doing this, right? I'm just gonna go with it. Alright, so boom. Alright, so boom. Like we said, this is the Western Empire. The U.S. is still Western Empire. We're part of British because that was the first empire. But this is how we're gonna figure some extra shit out, and we're gonna see how the slave trade was really backwards. And to be honest, Africa did get hit last. That's why Africa is still holding it down against oppression. Everyone's still trying to attack Africa now because they did get hit last. The slaves in America was already here, and this will prove why. Because not no, they look. I'm not gonna like. Yeah, they stupid to hide lies, but no one's not about to waste their energy and time, especially when you ain't really got none, like us. So you're gonna try to sneak his way around it. So boom. Alright, so look. Alright, so the Eastern Empire, right? Ukraine is part of Constantinople. That was the whole split between the religions with Christianity and the Islamic views. But at the same time, we're gonna get into the Emerald Tablets of Top, right? Emerald Tablets of Top, three Georges that I know so far right now. The thing about that, like how we were saying, 369 is a triangle and a circle, right? Triangle and a circle, right? Well, I guess this plane gotta be like that, because from there it still makes geometrical shapes that ties to the 369, and for the pyramid, and yeah, because the circle is the pie, feel me? Not exactly the shape of its mass, right? All right, so boom, the three the three Georges, right? So the Eastern, Western, and Eastern Empire continuance. The shit about to get real, but I need y'all to remove your emotions. If any other race watch this, other than the melanated people. So boom. Alright, because really I'm speaking to them. So boom. The three Georgias, right? There's a Georgia right where Ukraine is, which is constant, well, pretty much Constantinople, Istanbul, which is pretty much the empire also to the Turkish Empire or the Byzantine Empire. So if they get that with it, right? So I believe the Eastern Empire is also China, so India. But the Turkish got their own empire, I believe. So boom. And the Italian is pretty much part of the Western, I believe. Reason why our English ties back to the Western teaching stuff. Alright, so boom. So say North America, right? It's a circle. Europe is a circle. South America is a circle, right? So low key when you connect them, right? When you connect the circles, right? It looks like a hydrogen link. Well, it looks like a cell, right? Connected, right? With a triangle in the middle. So boom, the triangle in the middle. And within that triangle, there's the Bermuda Triangle. And But that Bermuda Triangle brings landmass that actually connects the Americas to Africa, because Africa will be right here. So the Atlantic, yeah, so boom. Let me try to show you what I got so far. Alright, so boom. This will be North America. South America, East. And low-key China would be West still, in my eyes. So boom. So this is the Atlantic, right? This is the Bermuda Triangle, which is making this cycle, right? Because with the triangle is delta changing energy levels. And when you change the energy levels, you change in currents. So yeah, so the current will actually go this way, I believe. And it'll go pretty much from there to South Sandwich Islands. Sandwich Islands, right? I might have proved some shit to y'all. I figured this show up today with some weird shit. I was making a whole nother life. So look, the Atlantis, right? So boom, the slave trade, right? Alright, so the current, right, went with the so above, right? For the airways. So flying, they can't just go straight across. They gotta go with the current. Cause it's the same as that. Cause remember the triangle deals with delta energy. The X deals with uh, movement, which is cells, X-ray, X gene, God gene. Intuition. See, nature has its own intuition too. It knows what to do. So boom, naturally. That's why it doesn't need man to interfere, because it naturally does what it needs to do. So boom, say this is Africa, right? So boom, cycle, right? Triangle. It's like the recycle sign. But let's look at what re means again. Re means, see what it means in Greek. Re means PE, means little p, which actually means pi. Little p means pi. And E, like that, represents epsilon, right? You might be getting somewhere. Alright, so if P, little p as that represents the pi, meaning the circle, right? Oh shit, you might be learning some shit. I'm learning as we going. Epsilon, Greek letter. Epsilon is the E. The P, little, and then the E equals pi epsilon. It is the fifth alphabet in Greek. Right before zeta, right? Right before zeta, which is number 6, right? Right? So they needed the 6, the Z, for this. Really, the Z represents 7 too. Zeta, the AN, right? So the AN meant with AM in Omni, which is an Omicron, and the Z is the AN, Z and AN. You put the Zeta with the micron, and it makes Zayn, a weapon. So boom. Alright. Alright, let's get back to it. So epsilon is the 5th alphabet in the Greek before zeta, right? It looks like a capital E. So pi and E will say PE. So, alright, so Greek alphabet E, the consonant sound represented by this letter, mathematics, is arbitrary small quantities used to indicate that a given quantity is small or close to zero. To indicate that a quantity is small or close to zero, going around the pi, right? In small positive quantity in mathematics. But the zero represents balance. That's why the epsilon is the 5th, standing for the 5 elements, because the 5 elements is the extra charge to the heart of the earth and the heart of you and the plasma, right? So, like the 4, right? Like we said, is for the elements. But the 5 brings it back to 0, because when it comes to that 0, it's like the 1 through 10. When it hits that 0, it's like the chill moment of the, we about to start a new cycle again. But the cycle being 3s, right? So it's like 3s, 3 years, another 3, 6, another 3, 9. Then a restart, but it's the second level of that, right? So it's happening every 9 years. So it's the second level. So it's gonna be another 3, then another 3, then another 3. then that's the 9, the second level of 9, right? But that 10 is when it chills. It's like when it rests, like the 7th day of rest. So when that 10, it rests, and then it restarts all up, go back to work again. And then when it hit the third 9, that's when it goes into the new energy, the new dimension, right? So that's kind of funny how this pops up with that, because it represents the triangle of how it's being balanced with its energies, because that's really some 369 energies by itself, with the for the Bermuda Triangle being in the planet and it's in water right now, charging pretty much with the UV sun, and that's going to make it rise back up again and actually grow, because the frequency of the Bermuda actually is going to grow like a plant the same way. It's just the frequency, it went down, so it dropped. So boom. That being said, dang, I broke my pencil. That being said, so the Bermuda is triangle X. So how do we even get to the epsilon in the first place? So boom, that represents the pyramid, PE. Alright, so boom, that's Oregon energy. Delta is Oregon energy. Org. Alright, so boom. Let's get back to this picture. Alright. So boom. So say, alright, so this is Georgia, South Georgia, and South America, right? And this is Georgia and North America, capital Atlanta, for Atlantis, right? Because Atlantis connects the whole realm, right? So that's when the solar system, right? This North America, this is Canada, this would be Devon's island, which is Mars, right? So boom, that's still part of North America and Georgia, right? And Atlanta is just on this part of North America, or how they gotta split it up. But this also connects with China, right? And then China is also right here because of the parallel, right? The parallel makes it seem like it's on both sides, but it's really just right there. So if you get to traveling, trying to go around this shit, right? You're gonna keep going around and round and around till you realize the promised land was right here, right? Because you came in the Caucasus Mountains. Where's the Caucasus Mountains region? Caucasus Mountains, which is Caucasian. Caucasus Mountains, right? Caucasian is a dead Asian, right? Like I said, This is where this little area right here is where the Caucasus Mountains is. We getting somewhere. Because the Caucasus Mountains is right by Georgia, right? The Georgia and the Georgia that's in Europe. Come on, y'all. Fuck. Alright, so the Caucasus Mountains, right? We need to see this shit on the map. Cause I just saw how I wanted to see it because I saw Georgia and the Black Sea. We gonna see what the fuck the Black Sea is too. Cause